I understand a thing or two about discipline. I'm not just speaking without experience. Like, why should you listen to me about discipline? What do I know about discipline? Biggest and most recent example is that I lost 20 pounds by fasting. If you fasted before, you know the amount of discipline that you need. You know the amount of self-control that you need, which we'll talk about. That's why I'm able to speak on experience, is because I have lost over 20 pounds and still losing more by intermittent fasting and doing long fasts. Right now I'm doing a 36-hour fast every other day, and that takes a huge amount of discipline. Discipline was the difference between me being over 190 pounds to me being almost 160 pounds. I want to explain to you and give you practical things that you can do to get disciplined and to really have that goal that you want and have your dream life, because I bet you the thing that's keeping you from what you want, from where you are now to what you want, is the discipline portion, and that's the day-to-day stuff. The main thing that I saw in my journey to discipline is that you have to have a vision. You have to see what you want. You have to focus on what you want, because everything else around you will try to distract you. The goal has to be in full view, has to be in full focus. You almost have to be obsessed with whatever vision that you have for yourself, so that you can stay disciplined and focused. Because if you're not laser focused, if you're not locked in on that, everything else will become a distraction, and you want to do any other thing except for the thing that you want. What is it that you want to do? Is it weight loss? Is it starting a business? Is it healing? You want to make more money? Is it getting into a relationship? Is it growing your relationship with God? Is it making new friends? What is that thing that you want? And see it. You have to envision it and have it. See the prize. Your eyes has to be on the prize. And as a Christian woman, and to put our goals into like the seat of God, obviously God is like at the center of my goals, and I put God first, and God is going to help me stay focused on whatever goal is. Like for me, this whole journey of losing weight, God has been at the center. And I honestly think that also has played a role in me staying so disciplined. I know that in the moments where I lose self-control, the fruit of the spirit is self-control. So you have to understand that you're obsessed with this thing, but as a Christian woman, if you're a Christian, remember God has to be at the center too. Like he has to be doing this journey with you. A lot of us will start a goal and then we forget about it the next day. You have to have this thing in your view, in your line of sight all the time. You have to see it, you have to think about it, you have to be inundated with this goal so that you can actually go after it. This is about prioritizing the thing that you want. When you prioritize the goal, it automatically makes discipline easy, because everything else that's not that goal, it's not as urgent, not as priority, has this one thing. So you have to have priorities. A lot of things are important, but you have to choose what is priority right now. I would say within creating a vision, you want to actually visualize this. So get on Pinterest, look it up, create a vision board, see it, visualize it, keep your eyes on the prize. And then for me, the biggest thing I've been doing is keeping pictures of how I used to look like versus how I look now. And that is very much motivating. The next thing I would say is that you have to understand that discipline and self-control are two different things, are not one and the same, but they're very, very close. You need self-control to be disciplined, and then your discipline strengthens your self-control. So they're symbiotic. Self-control is more about the moments to moment things, and discipline is about the long term. So for example, my fasting, the discipline is saying that each day I'm going to fast for 20 hours and I'm going to follow through. That's discipline. I'm going to do it every single day. Self-control is saying I'm fasting right now, but 20-hour fast. I have about 2 hours to go in my fast, and somebody brings donuts in the break room at work. And self-control is in that moment. Like my urgency is like, I want a donut, right? That's urgent. Self-control says no. That is, yes, it's right here, but what's important is your goal. What's important is you finish this 20-hour fast. So self-control is about the moments to moment that you get to say no to the things that are not important, that are not priority, that are not your goal. Self-control is saying, I don't want instant gratification. I have my eyes on the prize. And in this moment, something is about to derail me from my goal. I'm going to choose my goal. When you say no this time, it strengthens you to say no the next time. And that creates discipline. So it's kind of one and the same as discipline, but for me, I see it as self-control is moment to moment. So every moment that you say no, you're creating discipline. So if I say no at this hour, maybe next hour, somebody else is offering me a cookie. I say no the next hour and the next hour and the next hour. Then the more self-control I have in the moment, it creates my long-term discipline. What is your goal right now? And what are the things moment to moment that happen that you lose control, that you forget about your goal? And that's why you have to have your goal in your mind. You have to have vision of it. You have to have it at the forefront, because in that moment when someone is trying to derail you from your financial goals or derail you from your healing goals, or something is happening, people are triggering you, if you have your goal in your mind, you are going to say no to whatever that thing is. That's self-control. And I know for me as a Christian woman, self-control is the fruit of the spirit. And I know that in that moment when I'm like, God, I can't, I want to eat, I want to do this, or I want to do whatever I want. I want to spend my money the way I want. I want to forget about my goal. In that moment, I can draw power from the Holy Spirit instead of myself, because in that moment, my flesh, myself wants to do whatever I want. But because I know that the fruit of the spirit is self-control, I can say, Holy Spirit, I need your self-control. And for me, there are many, many times where I've said that, especially at work, when someone's bringing all this food during the holiday seasons, and I'm like, I have no self-control. So if you're a praying woman, if you're a Christian woman, you know that if you have the Holy Spirit in you, you can call on the Holy Spirit and he will give you the self-control that you need. The next thing that you need to do is create the environment for discipline. So you have your vision, you're obsessed with it, you're learning about it, you're literally doing everything to keep that goal in the forefront of your mind. And now you're practicing self-control. Now you have to change your environment. You have to change your environment to sustain your goal, to sustain that thing, to sustain your discipline. So a lot of us will start the goal, we'll start doing it, we're building that, but then everything else around us doesn't support our goals, whether it's the people in your life, whether it's just the environment, whether it's our mindset, whatever that thing is, our lifestyle is not supporting our goals. This is the hardest part about discipline, is that you cannot have the same exact environment and expect something different. Your environment plays a huge part in the results that you have in your life. So if you are expecting to be different, if you're expecting to shift into the next level, but you're still living in the same environment, whether it's mentally, actual physically, or it's the people around you, then it's going to be a little bit harder for you to have that discipline. So what is it that you need to do to shift your environment around? For example, let's say that your goal is to be financially independent, to save up, to have a good savings account, and you have a spending problem, or you and your friends go out all the time, you guys have a good time, but now you want to shift, right? You want to get more disciplined about your finances. So you have this goal, you're starting to say no to purchases and things like that, but then you still going out with your friends, you're still spending money. You haven't shifted your environment for that. So what you can do is saying, you know what, maybe instead of going out every single week, I go out once a month or every other week for now. And then you build that muscle, and then you have that self-control to go out every other week. Then you say, you know what, I'm stronger. Let's do once a month. Let me go out once a month. So now you're shifting yourself. You're shifting your environment slowly so that it supports your goals. It supports your journey to discipline. And next thing you know, you're saving more money. Do not let your environment stop you from becoming disciplined. You have the power to shift your environment. Whether it is stepping aside from certain friend groups, whether it is pushing back on a behavior, whether it's sitting down and shifting your mindset, you have the power to do it. Mental environment, this is where you need to start realizing and seeing the thoughts that are running through your head about your goal. So if your goal is to save money, but your thoughts are like, I can never save money, I'm not good with money, I grew up poor. If you have those thoughts, how are you going to save the money? If that is the thought that is happening in your mind, you already are defeated in your mind. So what we need to do is shift that mental environment. So this is where affirmations come in. This is where prayer comes in. You're breaking those strongholds when you're praying. This is where you start actually realizing the money psychology, that money is a huge thing. You start realizing that money is important. I'm a little bit greedy, or maybe I'm scared to be poor, or all these things that you have about money. You start bringing that up and you start shifting those thoughts into, I can save money. Money comes. Money is here as a resource. Money is God-given. Money is a great tool. Shifting your mental environment to support your goal and to support your discipline journey. The other thing that I realized about staying disciplined and why a lot of people who are successful are disciplined is they track everything, or they track as much as they could, and they show themselves progress reports, right? You have a progress report. A lot of us don't do that. For me, never took pictures of myself. I was embarrassed to take pictures of my body because I was like too big. This time around, I tracked everything. I weighed myself every other week, and I took pictures every other week. You can see the progress. And when I tell you the motivation that was happening every time I saw just me getting slimmer and slimmer and slimmer, shot through the roof, and it helped my discipline. So when we're seeing change, when we're tracking our progress and we're seeing change, even the smallest change, our brain likes that because it's a dopamine hit, right? Every time you're moving closer and closer to the goal, your brain, you're reinforcing that muscle memory in your brain and saying, this is good, right? Because every time you move towards your goal, you feel better because you know you're becoming that person. So if you see it on paper, if you see it in your pictures, in your progress, you are going to be more disciplined. So track everything. Track what you can. If it's a budget, keep a budget. If it's your spending, keep a spending. Your savings account. For me, another thing I used to track was clothes. I tracked my clothes and I went from an extra large to a medium. So now let's talk about the plateaus, the ruts, getting stuck, not moving forward. If I fall off, what happens? Because this will happen. It's just part of life. Something or another will happen, or you may get disappointed. For me, like there was a period where I literally was not losing any weight. Like I went from losing so much weight to nothing, get discouraged. All of this will happen. And the biggest thing you have to have is grace for yourself. You have to have the grace. You have to remember you're human in all of this. You're not meant to do this perfectly. There's going to be times where you're going to mess up. And for me, there's times where I actually ate the donut. Like I was fasting all day and I ate the donut. Or there was times where I just didn't fast. I didn't feel like fasting, so I didn't. There's times where I overate. I went on a binging spree. I binged. The biggest thing that I learned is that I can't do this without being kind to myself. When we think about discipline, we think about just like someone who's beating themselves up. When we think about discipline, we don't think about the softness of it. We think of discipline as hardcore, and we think about discipline as just like really rough and like this coach that's just pushing you, this tough person. We take the grace, we take the kindness out of discipline. We take the kindness out of hard work, out of our goals. That kindness doesn't help us get to our goals. We need to be rough. We need to be really strict. We need to be really, really hard on ourselves in order for us to achieve that. That was my old thinking. And no wonder I never lost weight. No wonder I was just where I was at, because I was not kind to myself. And I know you're like, kindness is going to help me become disciplined. 100% it will. 100% it will. If you get in a rut, you fall down, you think beating yourself up is going to help? Think like hating yourself, calling yourself names, saying you're not worth it, saying that, oh shoot, I knew I would get back down. I knew I wouldn't do this. Like is that going to help you get back up? Your brain is literally picking that up and saying, in order for me to do something, I have to be mean to myself. Like, do you want to be mean to yourself? Do you want to bully yourself into becoming the person you want to be? Or do you actually want to love yourself through it? Like, I think we really have to think about that. Like a lot of us think that I have to bully myself to become that person. No, you don't. You don't have to bully yourself to lose weight. You have to bully yourself to make more money. You have to bully anybody, right? Like if your friend was going through this, if your friend was literally going through this, trying to do the thing, trying to lose weight, trying to be disciplined, like would you bully them into doing it? I don't think so. And you have to see yourself as your friend, because in order for you to do this, you have to have kindness. It may work in the moment to be mean to yourself, but in the long term, I don't want it. So you need to be kinder to yourself when you fall. When those things happen, you have to understand that this will happen. You will fall. You will plateau. You will get in a rut. Those things will happen. And then what you need to do is slowly and kindly get yourself out of that. And this is when you have people around you who hold you accountable. People who are going to encourage you and remind you, look how much progress you've done. People who are going to love you through it. You're going to love yourself through this. And for me, my husband has been amazing, because he's had a front row seat to my whole entire body image issues and weight loss. Like he has seen it all. Like he's seen like the hurt, the pain, the cries of me wanting to lose weight. He's seen it all. And one day he came to me and he brought like a photo of me, and this was like at my heaviest, and he showed me, he's like, babe, wow, you look incredible. Look at the progress you made. And and in that moment, because I know that he's loved me throughout. Like he wasn't saying that he loved me less because I was, no, he did that when I was going through it. I stopped losing weight. I was just in a rut. I was like in a depressive episode, and he just showed me this side by side and said, look how amazing you look. You've done such good work. And he was so kind to me. In that moment, I was beating myself up and I wasn't loving myself. So he reminded me that the only way to get out of this is through kindness. So do you have those people in your life? Is your environment supportive of your discipline journey, of your goals? People, are they supportive of this? You can and will be disciplined. You just have to decide whether or not it's for you. That is all I have for you, my friend. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to our lovely growing community, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.